What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Her Lounge podcast. So, as you can tell, Marissa's not here today, but my husband is joining me. Woo!
Bling-rissa.
Huh?
Bling-rissa.
Bling-rissa.
I'm the replacement. I'm filling in.
Rob couldn't make it, so the show still has to go on. So my two friends here decided to help me out and have this episode recorded today. So thank you guys for backing it up.
For sure.
So everybody's getting ready back to school, so that's why Rob couldn't be here. But anyway, you guys know I like to start with a positive quote. If you focus on the hurt, you will continue to suffer. If you focus on the lesson, you will continue to grow.
Already. I thought it was gonna rhyme.
You thought I was about to start rapping?
Yeah. If
you focus on the hurt, you shall continue to suffer. But if you focus on the lesson, you'll continue to grow.
Nah, but grow.
Lesson. You won't be.
You gonna always have supper. What rhymes with suffer?
No. The last word was lesson.
Yeah, but I'm trying to rhyme it with suffer. Anyway, I'm just a co-host. I'm just a co-host.
That was a good. We needed.
Let me play my position.
Everybody was trying to see your skills, like how you come up with your raps.
That's how it works. But at the same time, I told Marisol, I was like, hey, you sure you want me on there? Because I don't want people saying it's like a bootleg Cafecito time, and we just trying to be like Cafecito again. And
this is my lounge. No one watches. The people that watch Cafecito time do not watch Her Lounge.
Okay, two different.
So don't worry about it.
Perfect.
My following is 100% female. We discovered that in my analytics.
I thought Big One Stoner.
My analytics, with my exception of my 4 guys who are my friends.
I'm a follower. How did it?
Okay, so that's 5 guys. 5 out of all the women that follow me. So I'm at 100% women.
And this is according to what? YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, YouTube. Maybe I think I'm subscribed.
Better be.
Dang, bro.
Maybe you gotta earn that.
Oh, dang.
Maybe you gotta earn that.
Well,
baby,
that's what today's episode is gonna be about.
Yeah,
why aren't you following?
Why aren't you following me?
You gotta work this.
Hey, we're really gonna argue on here. That's what I wanted you to on here for, to put you on the spot and all this shit.
I'm this close to following you.
What have you said to unfollowing?
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. To this morning, I am a super subscriber, super follower.
Oh my gosh. Hey, so check this out. You know, the other day when you and I said, I wonder what kids with 2 moms, who they call mom, and like a kid with 2 dads, who they call dad.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like kind of having that conversation, right? It was like, so is one mom and the other one's mommy? Or like is
mama,
one
big mama?
Or is one like the one that actually had the baby is mom, and then the other person just goes by their name?
Or what if they rent a womb and they have a surrogate?
Like 2 guys. Like if 2 guys, have a surrogate to raise them. And this is why. So Sean sent me this clip, and I want to play it. So I'm going to put it up here so you guys can hear it.
She has 2 moms. I'm not one of them, but she has 2. Do you ever wish that you had a dad?
Yes.
Why?
Because dads are a little bit stronger, kind of. But girls can be stronger.
Have you seen your mothers? They're very strong.
Not as strong as Uncle Michael.
Oh yeah? So really, you just want your moms to go to the gym and get stronger? So if your moms could lift you over your head in the pool, would you still want a dad?
See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, regardless, there needs to be a father figure in a child's life. Whether you have 2 moms or two dads, right? You probably need a mom, somebody to be the mom figure for that child. And then you're going to need someone to be the father figure for this lesbian couple. Because at the end of the day, regardless of how you want to see things, we need a mom and a dad. Penny said the funniest thing yesterday. I was telling Juan about this. We were putting lights on her bed because she said she saw a YouTube video where this little girl put lights on her in her room. So we happened to go to TJ Maxx yesterday. She saw them and she's like, can I please have these? She's like, I want these in my room. I said, fine. We came home and do it, and we're like, come on, Penny, we got to get into a routine of you going to bed early. So we're like, kind of, I guess, like telling her. And then she goes, I know, guys, I know it's really hard to be a single parent. I said, what? I said, where'd you hear that? And I guess immediately she got scared. And said
she called, who was she calling a single parent? Because we were both there messing with the light.
And I said,
I'm like, who are you calling a single parent?
I said, who are you calling a single parent? And then she was like, we're all offended.
we are, yeah, it's like we work hard to be a team and a family unit.
And I told her that. And I said, do you understand where did you hear that? And she wouldn't tell me where she heard it. She said, nowhere, forget it. And I was like, I need to do a better job, one, at maybe not reacting, but rather like doing a better job of asking. Because the one thing I'm afraid of as a parent for all three of our girls is for them to feel like they can't, even if it's the worst shit ever. I always said this. I'd rather them come to me than go to someone else or hide shit and do things behind our backs, and it turns out to be even worse. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I need to do a better job of not reacting so quickly, because I instantly said, where'd you hear that from? You know? Mm-hmm. And so I was kind of more of that, and she wouldn't say where she heard it from. And that's when I said, it's okay to tell me.
I'm smart. I know words.
Yeah, that's what she said, basically. And then, so anyway, and I said, where'd you hear it? And she wouldn't tell us where she heard it. And I said, do you know what single parent means? And she said, yes. And I said, well, what does it mean? And then she wouldn't say. And then we explained to her what a single parent was. And then we're all like, and we work as a team, and we're all like, you know, dad and mom don't even get to hang out.
Like, you got me all the way messed up. Yeah. You think? Talking about your mama a single parent. Act like you ain't got no daddy in the house.
And I was just like, bro, you are 5. Where do you even know single parent from?
Hey, meanwhile, the little one, Dad, Puppy, where's Dad?
All day.
Dad, feed me.
She wakes up in the morning asking for her dad. And I'm like, bro.
Well, we got home from Dallas, and she's the only one that welcomes him home.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, homeboy's back.
Hey, what's up?
Buddy here.
And she's all like, Dad. And then you know what else she said? So when we were going to TJ Maxx, the place where I get my nails done is right next door. And my sister goes, do you know why it goes all the way in the very back? And I said, no. She goes, well, they have like mommy and me chairs where theirs is Hello Kitty and yours is regular. I'm like, what? I was like, Pen, we got to bring you, I said, to get your nails done before you go to school, right? Mm-hmm. It's just like, because if I get nails, I'm going to talk to you like this.
She said that? Oh my gosh, she's 5, y'all.
And I said, what? And I started laughing. I couldn't help but to laugh. But I was like, why do you know this is what you do when you do nails?
Mama be pulling an invisible curtain on daddy. We took her to her first baseball Astros game.
Yeah, we went to the Astros game yesterday, so that was kind of nice. Thanks to my sister who had all these work tickets.
Yeah, she got a good corporate America job.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and so
she made it possible
for all of us to have our final.
I'm sitting there eating my chicken tendies. Everybody thank Tia Cynthia, okay? Thank Tia Cynthia por todo.
Oh my God, so funny. And then I told her, I said, she didn't want me to pay for the food, right? She's like, I invited you. I'm like, okay, you need to cool it with all the playing. I said, because she bought us dinner 2 nights in a row. And that's when I told you, I'm like, hey.
I'm over here like, let her.
And
she
I'm
got a good job. We in show business. It's iffy. We mess around and get canceled for something.
And I was like, I text her. I don't know what I said. Oh, and then Saturday, the plan was she was going to come help me watch the girls, but Mickey ended up staying, and Penny loves being with Mickey anyway, so I just needed to have Jimena upstairs with me, which was easy. Mm-hmm. And so she's like, I'm going to take Penny to get shoes. And I'm like, yeah. I said, here's my card, go, because she needed shoes for school. And she goes, she's got a rich aunt. I can afford to buy her shoes. I'm like, okay, we're not charity. Like, we don't need you to like come here and like you feel. I'm almost starting to feel like you feel sorry for us.
Hey, because every time she offers, I'm in the back like, yes.
And she's always like offering, and it's funny. She was like, because Mickey was sitting down and Mickey was talking to me. We were talking about school or something. We were eating, and then she goes, I don't know what I said. And then she goes, it was nice. She goes, because when she was young, when didn't have kids or anything, I paid for everything. Like my sister never paid, I had her even when she's with us, I'll say like,
come on, dog.
yeah, like I'll be like, I'll pay for you, but like,
got you, dog.
Now she offers,
sure, dog? Yeah, dog,
and
dog.
sometimes I'll be like, fine, that's fine, because there's a bunch of us. There's one.
It's a lot of mouths.
And we're 4, and when it's Mickey, it's 5 of us. So you see what I'm saying? So it's like, if I had just one, it's easier for me to add one more mouth versus she's adding a whole other 5.
It's a whole pack of mouths.
And I'm just like, it was so funny. But anyway, so it was nice that she took us to the baseball game yesterday, and you got to go.
Juan and I drove in from Dallas like literally that morning. So we went to bed late too because we walked out of an IHOP. Mm-hmm. We almost walked out of a Whataburger. And I was like, dog, I got to eat something, bro. I got this Jameson. I got Louis the Singer had a bottle of Jameson, which I was like, I guess I'm going to crack it open. I was like, sorry, don't mind me. But it was a fun show. It was a fun show. So
tell us about the...
Wait, tell them what happened whenever you got there. Like I
said, the hotel?
He was like, yeah, we gotta get back because we gotta go to the Astros game. And then whenever you walked in, you're like, where are you going?
You're like, you were like, oh, you're back? I'm like, yeah, remember I asked y'all what time we're leaving? And you said noon, so I made sure to be back by 11. She's like, oh, you don't have a ticket, you're not going.
I knew that he was...
When you said that, I was like...
It's because she did text me a thing.
Like, the first thing I thought was like, we could have slept in, bro.
Yeah, we could have slept in.
Yeah. When he kept asking, so noon, right?
She asked me, we text so much that paragraph got lost between other paragraphs. The one that said, oh, there's only X amount of tickets and you need to clean the garage.
I said, my cousin caught COVID. So I said, since Mickey is here, I said, I'm going to take her. Because originally we didn't, first of all.
We thought Mickey was going to be with her mom.
With her mom. So when my sister had the tickets, originally I only had, it was just going to be my sister, my cousin, Penny, and I, right? And so then, because I knew he was going to be out of town. Well, then Mickey came to spend the weekend, right? And so then I was like, damn, I don't have a ticket. She's like, well, I'm going home anyway on Sunday. And I was like, all right. So then my cousin called and said she had COVID. So I told Mickey, would you like to come? And she said yes. And I said, cool.
I have another name for that virus, which I will not say because I want my baby to get monetized. But go on.
But it all worked out though. That's cool.
Well, check this out. So then I said, hey, so Pete thought he was coming. And then I put a laughing face. I said, and I feel really bad now. I said, because I don't know where we misunderstood. And then she goes, she goes, let me see what I can do. And then I said, but if she goes, we can just get him a ticket. I said, yes, but I want to make sure he sits with us. I said, I'm down to pay for his ticket. I just want him to be able to sit with us.
Meanwhile, my bitch ass on my way to Dallas. I'm headed back, trying to hurry up and make it.
Long story short, it worked out because she said, when we were talking, she goes, 1 sec. And then she said when her work emails came through, somebody was getting rid of tickets because they weren't going to make it. So she's like, hey, I got a ticket for Pete. I said, well, how much is it? I'll pay for it. She goes, no, someone gave it up. She's like, so we're good. I said, all right. And so I said, well, this is nice. This was an unexpected family event. Thanks to my sister. Like, we managed to do something before the girls went back to school.
Even though on Instagram, I made it sound like, yeah, you know how we do, baby. You know, Daddy came home with the bag.
Little do you know, she fired a Gen Z person.
These are like donated tickets.
Exactly.
But they were lit. They were lit seats. Don't act like we were out like over there con los. Mira, and we're special shout out to the Pobrecitos 17th stretch, and we're up there like.
No, we had good tickets.
No, we had
really good tickets. Yeah. She says next time we'll have better tickets. We'll be in the suite. She goes, this time I think because this was an actual work event. Oh, dang. So they had, and I was like, these are shitty seats. I'm like, these are good seats. And then it was funny. I was teasing her. I said, we're usually like down there when we come to the games.
We're by the dugout.
We're by the dugout.
Hey,
that's how we get invited.
When Michael Berry invited us to a game.
I said, I can never
We're normally in the Mattress Max suite.
Yeah. Hey, but you know what's funny? I told her, I said, I can't watch baseball games like this anymore. This is way too many people.
You're like, wait, they don't have sushi? They're not making sushi for us right now?
It was so funny. She was like, no, when we're in the suite, it's better. I'm like, yeah, but y'all are up at the top. I said, I'm like down there usually when I come, and she's like, "Oh my God!" I was laughing.
So
at
it's
her.
like I could throw popcorn at the outfielders.
Totally, and it was so funny because she was like, "Well, the next time you come, you need to bring me so I can experience that." I was like, "Okay, I will." But anyway, going back to the two moms situation, we went.
Yeah, sorry.
What was I saying?
Oh wait, do we have topics on the board? Or this is
No.
Okay, she manning the ship.
No. Oh man.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. I just got water on myself. Anyway, going back to what I were talking about. So I'm never against I call them OG gays. That's what I call gays that were, they all know I
Before
do.
the alphabet.
Before all these other letters got added. So there's things that I consider OG gays because they were the people that really, I feel, fought for this equality situation where they made it okay for two men and two women to date each other. Not a they or them, right? A fish or they.
Yeah.
What did what did he call him?
They're like, oh, so you want to be a fisherman? He's like, fish or they?
Or fish or them?
I don't know.
He's one of those. I think he's a they them right now.
Oh, he got nominated for a Grammy or something, right? And they had a picture of like, it was all the females and him, and they're like, this year, not one female was nominated for like album of the year or whatever. And it's like, there's a dude named Samuel.
Crazy.
There's a dude named Samuel right there. He's a dude, and y'all saying no women, just so they could be like, he's pansexual.
But wait, babe,
he's gender fluid.
Since he doesn't, So wait a second. That just sparked something. If you're identifying as non-binary or a they, and for award purposes, which category are you put into? If depending on what you're identifying as that day.
What do you mean, like what category? Do they have like a gender specific?
You know,
category?
you know how they have women's
female
and men,
artists of the year,
and the male artists of the year. So how's that gonna work if they don't identify as whatever?
I don't know. I'm old. I can't keep up.
Ooh, I'd love to see how that's gonna work.
I mean, right now they're doubling down, and they're just like the powers that be. They like really stick to the script in terms of like, we want to issue an apology and a statement because we accidentally called, Demi Lovato she or whatever. Like whenever, anytime they misgender, they come back right away. The Wall Street Journal would like to say we messed up, almost like a hostage situation. Like,
isn't that weird though? Yeah, we can't sit and have a conversation with someone without somebody being offended. Man, I don't know who the hell I was talking to or where I was, where someone said, "Isn't it so weird?" Oh, actually, it was the Ron White and Roseanne Barr episode. It was really good. And so he was saying how he's not for Trump, even though he called himself a left-right conservative or something like that. No. Basically, and so he was saying like, I didn't know that he went to school here in Deer Park.
And he used to live in Reynosa too.
Word?
Yeah, he started a pottery company type of thing down there. Like he was like hustling, like maybe buying like artesanías and flipping them or something. Now he's got a tequila company, right?
Yeah, he does, and he doesn't drink.
Tequila.
Huh?
Number one tequila.
That's what it's called, Number One Tequila. Speaking of comedians, man, shout out to Israel Garcia.
He recorded his special this weekend.
Yeah. I kept wanting to tell him, like, bro, just don't call it a special. Stop reframing it because you're putting so much pressure on yourself. But I'm glad to hear that it went smooth. I texted him ahead of time, like, hey, bro, have fun. Trust your instincts. Like, if you got to call it audible, like ain't nobody judging you on the script. Like, hey, you missed a word or anything like that. Like, have fun. And it sounds like he got a standing ovation. And
I sent him a prayer. I said I prayed for him. Basically, is what I did via text. I didn't want to call him. I know he don't want to talk to nobody.
Yeah, especially the day of a show, right before.
And I just said, I don't need a text back. I don't need you to say anything. This is just my. I just said, I'm just sending words of encouragement. That's it. And I did. And then he responded yesterday, and or the day before, something like that. I was surprised he responded. Like, I wasn't expecting that. But he just said thank you and just how much he appreciates us.
I'm glad that he's over with that part of the pressure he put on himself. He was like just you know how artists get, you know what I mean? You get in your head, and that's the main thing I didn't want to happen to him. Is like, bro, like just don't get in your head. If you get in your head, get out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the last thing you want to be doing, I think.
Well, comedy is interesting, and going back to the Ron White and Roseanne Barr conversation, he was saying how back then no one knew who you voted for. No one knew where you stood, what religion you were, what the fuck you did. No one cared. Mm-hmm. You were just having a regular conversation with someone about anything. It doesn't matter. You didn't know what walk of life they were from, what they'd been through. If you had something in common, y'all have a conversation. If, you know, whatever, it could be anything. Oh, I like that shirt. Is that like a CK parody? You know, and then the conversation kicks off. But nowadays, you can't even have a conversation with someone if you don't agree on anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can't have...
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's social media. And I think it's like the propaganda around us where they have created this division. And it started with Trump. It started with them...
I say it started with Obama. We'll go.
Really? You think that far back?
The media... And I tried to make this point on Ghetto Boys podcast, but I didn't have all my facts in order. So basically, during the Obama era is when you saw the media, like newspapers and stuff like that, start to crank up mentions. Like there's a graphic of the amount of times race, racism, or whatever is, or like white supremacy, all those types of words. The amount of times they're mentioned in the media, it's like very low numbers, the way the graph is. And then Obama comes in, and it might be coincidental. I'm not saying he's the one that said it. Now we're going to crank this shit up. But, you know. But basically, that's when all of a sudden it's like because also Occupy Wall Street was happening. When everybody started realizing like, yo, the 1%, it's these elites that aren't paying their fair share and they control everything. So now you got that song by, what's his name, Anthony Oliver, where the stuff he's saying in the song, like I would like to see like even minorities who feel like, shit ain't fair for us, and it's 2 tiers of justice for us, and they don't care about us, to hear his frustration, and for people to be like, wait, so it's really the 1% that's against all of us, but they've been playing this game of race and division, divide them, divide and conquer, confuse them, to where they don't realize, they're too busy fighting with each other, right? Because the media is saying, hey, you know who stole your cheese? And it's like, man, who stole my cheese? Hey, you know who moved your cheese? And you fighting over here. Because when they started doing Occupy Wall Street and against the 1%, that's when traction really started happening. They were like camping out in front of like the Federal Reserve or something saying, hey man, y'all playing this little Ponzi scheme with the money. And so that's my theory as to who's keeping this division
Well,
going.
I can see that now that you mention it because the Obamas are like that. I mean, I'm a victim of voting for him the first time,
I voted
you know,
for him. I voted the first time.
Because I really thought there was going to be change. I really did. I really thought like, I mean, I know that people say he's not black, but technically everybody claims him to be black.
He's from Kenya. He's half Kenyan,
So,
half white.
I felt like finally there's somebody who is not just a white person in office, right? And he's going to be our president, right? Mm-hmm. I'd love to see a Mexican-American president as well.
If they do well, they're not just little World Economic Forum sellouts.
Exactly. But I'm just saying it's kind of cool that there was that opportunity. At the end of the day, whatever way you want to look at it, whether he was shitty, because he was shitty, president, it was pretty damn cool and unheard of to have had a black president. So I'll give him that. Although they're saying like somebody like George Washington was half black or some shit, but he never claimed it because he looked more white. There's like presidents in the past that they're saying were black.
Yeah. And then there were some presidents before George Washington. And then also Mexico had a different country, but they had like a...
I thought that was kind of interesting. I was like, oh man, I got to really go back and check that out because I didn't know about that.
And that's when you realize all skin folk ain't your kinfolk.
That's not true.
Let's drop it again. Basically what I'm saying is she was looking at it like, oh cool, there's like this minority dude who's not the same old pattern.
Drop the verse.
Yeah, but what she realized, once she saw, I thought this was going to be skin folk, that was going to be our kinfolk. But she realized, oh, you just skin folk, but we really ain't kinfolk. Mm-hmm. In other words, you didn't really do nothing for, you was just you were drone bombing shit.
Yeah.
He raps kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comes up with lyrics.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, you're right. And I probably also didn't pay a lot of attention during that time because I didn't have children. And I just kind of like went with whatever, was happening and what you would hear,
I obviously,
what was on the news,
Yeah.
because even during that time, social media wasn't that big. So it
at the
wasn't
time,
like,
everything Alex Jones was saying sounded so far-fetched at the time. Come on, man. You
totally. Yeah, he sounded like
You
fake.
telling me they poisoning the food and the water?
And what kids? What kids in,
Yeah, you talking about the island.
like, that's so fake. And you know what I'm saying? Yeah, all that
Come
shit.
on, Alex.
But it's crazy that it took something like what happened to us a couple of years ago for a lot of people to wake up. Not just like, because so many people that I've talked to that have kind of like realized that and even if you're on, I'm not saying everybody on the left is the same way. I'm sure everybody on the left doesn't agree with everything that's going on. I hope not.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
So, but what I'm saying is, back then, I think like, I mean, I still had some ways that I didn't agree with on the left though. Even though I voted Democrat, I still didn't agree with some
So
stuff.
basically, you had all this empathy, but at the same time, you still had a little bit of common sense.
Exactly.
We were like, wait, we gonna get rid of all the guns?
Yeah. Well, I was never, that when I first met you, you were kind of like about guns.
I had seen this. Of course, I was ignorant. I was ignorant on the debate, but I remember how it came up. There was Jim Jeffries. That's the name of the comedian, right, from Australia. He has this whole long bit where it's a good bit. It's well written to where he's like pointing out certain things, and so he's being funny, but he's making these kind of anti-gun arguments. And I was like, oh man, that's pretty fun. Yeah, that's true. I never thought about that. That's a good point. Mike was like, yeah.
Yeah, I was never.
Now I get it.
Yeah, I was never against like getting rid of the guns. That was one thing. Also, I've always felt I think I argued with Rob. It's funny when we first started the What Did He Said podcast, where I said like about traditional, about basically he was calling me a very traditional woman, and I kept saying I'm not traditional. He's like, but you are. That's a very conservative thought. And it was about the role of a female and the role of a male, and like how I said, like I felt like you needed to be married before having children. I said, but that was what I felt. I'm not saying that's what you needed to do, and I ain't talking about anybody who didn't do it that way.
And you didn't see it as traditional or conservative?
I didn't see it as conservative. I just felt like that was my tradition. That's what I saw in my home, and that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want, and that's the same. I told him that from the get-go, like, I'm not having kids without, like my kids gotta have I gotta have the same last name as my child. I'm like, I'm not trying to have kids and not be married and just be living together. Like I didn't want to do that. And so I made that super duper clear to him.
Talking about to me, not to you.
Yeah, to you. And then when Rob was like, when we were having this conversation, Rob's like, those are very conservative values. And I'm like, no, they're not, Rob. He's like, yeah, they are. And it was funny because later on, that was still like.
Well, when we started working with him, I didn't really understand even what conservative even really meant.
Me either. I just felt like the conservative party was always the party that was not for the brown people. Mm-hmm. That's what I knew it as. Mm-hmm. It was the blue people. It was the left who were always for brown people. And that's how I was always.
I never even used to use those terms like left or right.
I never used left or right either. I just knew red or blue, Democrat and Republican. But I knew that the Republicans were not for people like me.
Or you
or that's kind of what it was pictured as to me. Like that's how it was presented to me. So that's what I thought. I never knew that. However, I've said this a gazillion times. My parents were not. I wasn't raised in a Democrat home. I was raised in a very conservative home, a very red home. My parents both voted. Well, my mom's my dad never cared to vote. He used to say it was never going to make a difference. So he was like, I'm not fucking with that. But both of them, and I always said, I don't know if it's because of religious reasons that my parents went that way or whatever. But my parents and I my mom and I especially could never have a political conversation because I never agreed with her on anything. Because, my way of thinking was so of like how it is for a lot of people today, right?
Yeah, you're young,
and so,
empathy.
Yeah, and I was just like, how can you feel that way about people when you're an immigrant yourself? And, that's just not how life works. And you know what I'm saying? Just because you came in here and you didn't have to swim here doesn't mean that it was like, that was always our argument. Yeah. I'd always be like, just because you didn't cross a river why is that not? It's like, no, I came here the right way. I'm like, no, you didn't. You overstayed your welcome. That's all that happened. That's the difference between you and them, is that you let your visa expire.
Damn, hocicona,
I was.
You overstayed your visa.
Yeah,
okay? Don't
I did.
act
I said, you
like
overstayed
went
your
to
welcome.
The right way, mother.
And so that's kind of what happened. And then when they were, so I guess it wasn't expired. What happened was while their visa was still active, they happened to be here, already living here when the whole Reagan thing happened. And so then they got amnesty through that. So that's how my parents were able to stay. But that was always our argument, is that we had. And what I want to make sure is that what I fear most is I think Mickey is fine. I think she understands like where you stand and how you see things, because you do such a good job of talking to her and asking her questions about what's going on in school. What
Logic,
are you doing? Exactly. And I want to make sure that Penny, now that she's going to go to school, that no one tries to tell her anything different. Like, the minute I hear something along the lines of
Drag queen story,
like drags anything,
a parade in school.
The next morning, I am going to school and withdrawing her. There will be none of that. There will be none of that happening.
Marisola's like, I kind of hope and wish they would.
And
just
I'm like,
so I could go up there.
And I'm just like,
It's gonna be the motivational quote of the day.
Oh my God! It just,
I wish a motherfucker would.
Exactly. I'm not having that. And my sister's like, she texted me this morning and she was like, what time is Penny's meet the teacher? And I told her, and then she goes, how are you feeling? I said, I am feeling very scared.
What if the teacher got purple hair and like the crazy Starbucks barista?
Well, we'll know today. We'll know today.
What time is it?
Later, right before her jiu-jitsu class.
Okay, got it.
So we'll know today.
Nice.
And I'm terrified and I don't know what to expect. However, I also don't want to put anything in Penny's head. Does that make sense? Because I want her to come home and just kind of talk about it and say what she saw, or if someone said something. Is Penny smart? Like, I'm not just saying that because that's my kid, but that little girl
Yeah, she's very perceptive.
And yesterday she also said insecure. I said, do you know what that word means? And she's like, because I said, ooh, you look so cute with your nails. And she's like, girl, I know. Stop telling me that. You're going to make me insecure. And I said, do you know
it's one of them YouTube videos, I swear, where they got teenagers.
Yes, it's the teenager ones. And you know why she gets to watch that one? Because it's on the TV. And it's they pick on my profile every time versus their profiles. They don't pick their profiles. Because on the iPad, I can control it. Like the request, you're like, they have to request screen time and it comes to my phone. And so, anyway, and I said that, and I said, do you even know what insecure means? She goes, yeah. I'm like, what is it? She goes, I don't know. And she went like that, I don't know. And my sister was laughing. She's like, dog, she is your child 100%. It's just like, you couldn't deny this baby even if you wanted to. I said, I know I can. I literally grew her. I think I would know. But anyway, I thought that was funny because she said those words. But I guess I'm not afraid of that because I know that one way or the other, I feel it'll come out, like her say something like, do you know that my teacher said this?
Racist,
yeah, or something.
Victims.
But you know what's going to be crazy is that she's going to see children of other color now at this school because there weren't that many at her previous
her preschool
school.
Wasn't that diverse?
Her preschool was not very, I mean, they were, but it was like mixed Asian and white kids.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't
there
think
wasn't like a Socorro.
Yeah, there wasn't anyone like
Conchita,
that. None of that. Yeah, and I think this is a little bit more diverse. I am kind of excited about that, but
I know. I remember my little elementary was super diverse because there was this much larger classmate. Her name was Kamisha.
Oh, you had a crush on her, right?
No, my dad. No, I didn't have a crush on her. Kamisha was a big kindergarten. I was like the runt. So if we happened to be like walking, like by some apartments, trying to get to the bus stop or anything like that, my dad was just like, "Era la novia de mi hijo, la camisha, era la camisha." But she was like the biggest kindergartner, and I was the smallest kindergartner.
Wow.
Yeah, you're like, era la camisha.
That's hilarious. How little? Like penny size? Or you think
What,
you were?
me?
Yeah.
Oh, I was a runt. I was like one of the smallest kids.
I know. So like penny size? you think?
I don't see her as a little runt. No,
No?
I think she's pretty like
Average.
average. Yeah.
I went to school right around the corner from our house. Predominantly black. I was the minority, so that's what my upbringing was majority black. I didn't see Hispanics until we moved to the Spring Branch area. I was like, oh, this is where y'all are. Okay, I'd never seen this many of y'all before. And then it was like half and half. It was like, oh, I have a mix of both, you know. And then the white folks was a minority. And then when I went to high school, that's when I was like, holy smokes.
That's when you switched to Beverly Hills 90210.
Yeah, I was like, man,
Culture shock.
I've never seen this many white people in one setting. I was like, we were now the minority, and we were now like not the most popular race there.
I could relate. So if you ever have me back on the show, we'll do a follow-up episode just about
About your
culture shock. Yeah, like all that. Like you on campus and they're playing Blind Melon.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. If you're not a part of Her World, come on over and join us on the Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Her Lounge Podcast. Tell a friend, share our episodes, guys. We will have more clips now on the social media page. So if you can, start following us on Her Lounge Podcast on Instagram. And that's how you can share our clips and other people can start following us. We're trying to keep growing. And we can only grow with your help. So thank you so much for listening.
Come on over to Her World. If you tired
of
your content creator all in the Discord, all on the live stream, come on over to Her World.
My content creator?
You know, like Suge Knight. Remember when Suge Knight? You don't remember that moment? It's a rap reference.
Oh.
When he was calling out Puffy. He was basically saying, "Come to Death Row. Come on over to Death Row. If you're tired of your CEO dancing all in the video,
well,
talking
in this case,
all
if
on
you're
the
tired
song.
of the other podcasts, come on over to our world, to Her World." So, anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.